The auction house on Station Nephilim reeked of desperation and greed. Zia stood at the back of the crowd, his human frame dwarfed by the towering Krillian merchants and multi-limbed Vexer traders. His military uniform drew suspicious glances, but he ignored them. He wasn't here on official business. The auctioneer, a gelatinous quorum, gurgled through its translator. Lot 47, 1 adult Draconis stellaris and 5 hatchlings. Reserve unmet. Starting bid 500 credits, Zia's breath caught. On the platform, chained with energy shackles, stood the most magnificent creature he'd ever seen. Elsa, though he didn't know her name yet, was a dragon of deep sapphire scales that shimmered like starlight. Her wings were folded tight against her body, and her golden eyes burned with defiant fury despite her weakened state. 5 tiny dragons, no bigger than house cats, huddled against her legs, chirping fearfully. 500, someone called lazily. The crowd chuckled. Dragons were valuable, but these ones looked half-starved. Damaged goods. 500 once, 10,000 credits. Zia's voice cut through the hall. Every eye turned to him. The auctioneer's membrane quivered. To 10,000? Sold to the human. The Krillian who'd bid 500 snarled. You fool. Those beasts will eat you alive, literally. Zia met his gaze steadily. Then I'll die well-fed on purpose. The transport back to his quarters took an hour. Elsa remained silent, her chains removed but her pride wounded. The hatchlings, 3 girls and 2 boys, chirped and squeaked, pressing against their mother. Zia kept his distance, speaking softly. I'm not going to hurt you. Any of you. I know what it's like to be caged. Elsa's head snapped toward him, those golden eyes searching. She didn't speak. Couldn't yet, perhaps, but intelligence gleamed there. Ancient and aware. His apartment was modest. 2 rooms in the military sector, barely enough space. But it had high ceilings and reinforced walls. Dragon-proof, ironically, since the previous tenant had been a Saurian engineer. Zia opened all the containers of food he'd stockpiled. Proteins, minerals, even expensive thermal crystals that dragons supposedly craved. He arranged them carefully and stepped back. Eat, please. For a long moment, Elsa stared. Then slowly she moved forward. The hatchlings followed, and soon they were devouring everything with desperate hunger. Zia watched from the doorway, his chest tight. One hatchling, the smallest, with scales of violet and silver, paused mid-bite and looked at him. Their eyes met, and Zia smiled gently. You're safe now. All of you. Days passed. Zia learned quickly that dragons were far more intelligent than galactic society believed. Elsa could understand every word he spoke, responding with careful gestures and expressions. The hatchlings were curious and playful, though still wary. He named them with Elsa's approval, conveyed through a series of head tilts and what he swore was a dragon smile. Aurora, Nova, and Celeste for the girls, Orion and little Nebula for the boys. Nebula, the smallest, bonded with Zia almost immediately. The hatchling would curl up on his lap during meals, chirp excitedly when he returned from duty, and follow him everywhere with tottering steps. On the 5th day, Zia sat repairing his combat armor while Nebula watched with fascinated eyes. The hatchling made a soft crooning sound, then, clear as crystal, a single word emerged. Duh, Zia froze. His tools clattered to the floor. Nebula tilted his head, trying again. Dad? Emotion crashed through Zia like a tidal wave. He looked at Elsa, who watched from across the room with an expression he could only describe as maternal approval. Slowly, Zia scooped Nebula into his arms. Yeah, little one. I'm here. Nebula nuzzled against his chest, purring. Dad, Dad, Dad. The other hatchlings crowded around, chirping the same word experimentally. Aurora got it next, then Orion. Within minutes, all 5 were calling him Dad in their small, precious voices. Elsa approached then, her massive form somehow gentle. She lowered her great head and pressed her snout against Zia's forehead, a gesture of trust, of family. When she pulled back, she spoke for the first time, her voice like thunder and silk combined. Thank you, human, for seeing us, for saving us. Zia's eyes burned. Zia, my name is Zia. Zia, Elsa repeated, tasting the name. You bought us expecting nothing. You gave us everything. In dragon culture, such bonds are sacred. You are pack now, family. I couldn't leave you there, Zia whispered. I've seen too many good beings treated as property. No one deserves that. Especially not children. Elsa's eyes gleamed with ancient wisdom. Your species is young, Zia. But you possess something most elder races have lost, compassion that acts. The galaxy fears humans because you're warriors. But we dragons recognize your true strength. You fight not for conquest, but for those who cannot fight themselves. Nebula climbed onto Zia's shoulder, nuzzling his neck. Dad, stay? Always, Zia promised, his voice thick. I'll always stay. Word spread through Station Nephilim quickly. The human soldier who'd bankrupted himself to buy a dragon family. Most thought him insane. But when Zia walked through the corridors days later with 5 hatchlings flying around his head, and Elsa striding beside him like a queen, something shifted. The Krillian who'd mocked him at the auction stepped aside, lowering his eyes. The Vexer traders whispered with something that might have been respect. Even the station commander, a hard-eyed Centauri admiral, nodded in acknowledgement. Humans, the galaxy was learning, didn't see value in credits or power. They saw it in the smallest dragon calling them Dad. They saw it in the chance to make a wrong thing right. And that perhaps was the most terrifying and wonderful thing about them.